It is Final Four Saturday in the college basketball landscape, but the Philadelphia Flyers are also down to their Final Four. 4 games remaining for the Fly Guys. It looks like they're going to make the playoffs, but you never know in this sport. Caleb Weiler is here. I am Adrian Fedque. What's going on? Flyers,
Hey.
baby.
Yeah, 4 games left, down to the nitty-gritty. I'm excited for some hockey.
Yeah, and I believe the Flyers have like a 95% chance right now to make the postseason. So it's looking good. All you got to do is just hold off the Panthers, 6 points ahead of them. Panthers currently losing to Boston 3-1. So things are looking pretty for the Flyers.
Yeah, absolutely. Their magic number right now is 7. So they either need to gain 7 points on the Panthers, or the Panthers need to lose 7 points, or a mix of the two. So if the Panthers lose today, that's down to 5. If the Flyers win tomorrow, it's down to 3. So chances are looking really good. I think the Flyers are definitely going to make it into the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's looking good. And we'll get into some playoff talk right now. So maybe we are getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So as of right now, who would you want to play? It's looking like it's either going to be Boston, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, one of those teams, right? So out of those guys, who do you want to play? Boston's
I think the one that you didn't mention is the one that I want to play, the Capitals.
Oh, I forgot about the Capitals. That's my bad. That's the one that they're most likely going to play.
Yeah, I would say most likely they're going to play the Capitals. There's a couple different reasons for that. One, the Flyers are 3-1 against them this year, so they match up really well against the Capitals. Other than that, that means that the Blue Jackets will most likely be the ones playing the Penguins, and I think the Blue Jackets match up really well against the Penguins. And if we could take out the Capitals and the Blue Jackets could take out the Penguins, it could make for a really interesting and fun postseason, especially because there would not be a three-peat between the Pittsburgh Penguins. So ultimately, I would love to see first-round matchups, us versus Caps, Blue Jackets versus Penguins.
There you go. All right, so 4 games to go. Maybe the Flyers can even work their way up the standings even more. They are only a point behind Columbus. They're 2 points behind Pittsburgh. Not going to get the 1 seed in the Metropolitan Division because the Capitals are kind of way ahead at this point. So final 4 games. Boston at home, at New York Islanders, Carolina at home, and the Rangers at home. So I'm putting you on the hot seat. How many points you thinking?
I think in the final 4 games, out of the 8 possible points, they'll get 6. The Boston game could go either way. They are playing today, so they're going to be on a back-to-back, and obviously Boston is traveling here. So that'll be good for us. They'll be on the second half of the back-to-back and traveling. So that game could go either way, but I believe Tuukka Rask is playing today, so we should get Anton Khudobin tomorrow, who is their backup. So that would be a good stroke of luck for the Flyers. And the Metropolitan Division rivals, the Hurricanes always give us fits, but the Islanders have been letting in a ton of goals this year, and so have the Rangers. So I think they should be able to get 3 wins out of the 4 remaining this season.
Yeah. This Flyers team, it's literally been like a roller coaster all season long. If you remember, we did a show right when they were having that big winning streak. They won 10 of 11. Then right after that, they lose 7 of 8. They're 4-3 in their last 7, but they've recorded a point in each of their last 5 games. So I guess they're playing okay right now. What would you say?
I think they're playing well. I mean, they lost to the Penguins in overtime. They lost to Dallas in overtime, and they should have won that game in Dallas. Kari Lehtinen just kept Dallas in that game the entire game, and then Voracek had a chance to finish it off, and it just didn't go in. Dallas goes the other way on a 2-0 and scores in overtime. So the Flyers easily could have come out of both of those games with wins, but they didn't. The nice thing about that is there's no 3-on-3 in the playoffs. If you get into overtime, it's 5-on-5. Flyers match up pretty well against other teams 5v5. So yeah, it sucks only getting 4 wins and 3 overtime losses, but they do have a point in 7 straight games, like you said, which really helps them in the standings. I'm really happy with the way they've been playing recently.
Yeah, you're right. 7 straight games. I think I said 5, so that's my fault. So yeah, you kind of alluded to that. I mean, they had 4 road games in their last 5, and one of them was at Pittsburgh, which obviously they had the loss in overtime. At Dallas, they were able to get a point. And this Colorado game, so they win it 2-1. But my God, I'm pretty sure like several Philadelphians were in the hospital following the game with heart issues. They didn't get a shot off in the final 7:44 in Colorado. Craziness.
Yeah, that game was just, my heart was pounding the entire time. It was absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, they got the 2 points, which was huge. They really needed it. Colorado really needed it. And they were able to stay in that game, which was great. Definitely got big 2 points right there. But they're going to need to continue that in their last 4 games to continue to make that push into the playoffs.
Yeah. Goalie situation. So Brian Elliott, he's at that 6-week mark, but we really still haven't heard anything from him. Obviously, I would think it's safe to say he's probably not playing anymore this season. What would you say?
I mean, it's definitely possible. The Flyers play 4 games between now and April 7th, which is next Saturday. So it's possible that we could see him in for a game or 2 and see how he's playing. But as of right now, you kind of got to – if Peter Mrazek stays hot, you kind of have to ride him until the playoffs. And if he continues to stay hot, you got to run with him until he gets cold.
So I guess the follow-up question would be on Mrazek. How have you liked his play?
Obviously, extremely inconsistent, extremely streaky. He came in for Neuwirth, glass bones Neuwirth, whatever you want to call him at this point in his career, and he pitched a shutout in his half of the game. So I was happy with the way he played in that game. But he's going to have to continue to play to that level if he wants to continue being the starter for the Flyers moving forward.
Yeah, you talked about Neuwirth. Returned for the first time in 6 weeks, and then he couldn't even make it to the second period intermission. What the hell's up with that? What happened to him?
He just cannot stay healthy. It's ridiculous. I remember on the Reddit pregame thread, everybody was taking bets, right, over under 1 period, over under 2 periods, and clearly the over on 1 and the under on 2 was the winner. So it's crazy. You could just predict the fact that if he comes back for an injury, 50-50 chance that he's going to get hurt again.
Wow. Jeez. Now I understand why you kind of toyed with the fact that you kind of wanted to bring Mrazek back after this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be good to bring him back, but the cost for him would be astronomical. It'd probably be better to bring up somebody like Lyon full-time next year to back up Elliott, or if Stolarz can stay healthy, then I'd probably go with him as well.
Yeah. All right. What else there to discuss? I guess we could, kind of derive from the Flyers for a second, and I'll get your power rankings. All right. So in the Eastern Conference, you got Boston, you got Tampa Bay, you have Washington. Out of those 3 teams, who do you think's the best? Who do you think's the worst? Rank them.
Out of those 3, you
could just say the top. Let's say the top 3 in the East. Who do you think are the top 3 in the East in general?
Top 3 in the East, I'd probably go Boston, Tampa, and then the Penguins. Capitals clearly are good. They're leading the division, and so I think they're a little underrated this year because they're not going to win the President's Trophy. They didn't make a big deal at the deadline to try to go for it all this year. Braden Holtby's had a down year, so I'd put the Penguins slightly over them, but Boston and Tampa are definitely the 2 teams to beat in the East. It's going to be interesting because the way the NHL brackets work out is the 2 seed and the 3 seed in the entire Eastern Conference are going to play each other, whether that's Toronto and Tampa or Toronto and Boston. One of those teams is going to be out. So one of the powerhouses in the Eastern Conference is going to be out first round this year.
Yeah. Do you like the new playoff format? They went to this like a couple years ago where the 2 plays the 3 in the same division, and then you have like the wild card play the 1 seed. I don't know if I like that. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It can work either way. This year I don't like it because you have the top 3 teams in the East are the top 3 teams in one division, in the Atlantic Division. Yeah. So that really hurts teams like the Toronto Maple Leafs who have to go up against a team that is better than them, but realistically they should be going up against the 6th seed who would either be us or the Blue Jackets. So it'll be interesting. I would prefer them to just rank everybody 1 through 8 in their conference, regardless of division, once the playoffs come around, and then play it that way.
Yeah, that's what I would think. But whatever, the NHL, I guess they want to be a little different.
Yeah.
Well, how about in the West? So in the Western Conference, you got Nashville with 111 points. Las Vegas Golden Knights still up there, 105. Who are the best three teams in the West?
In the West, the teams I'd probably pick out of there, number one has to be Nashville. They've just been absolutely crushing it. They've been phenomenal all year. They were in the finals last year, and I think they're going to want to take the chance to redeem themselves after losing to the Penguins. I like the Golden Knights, but I probably wouldn't take them in a 7-game series. They've really been stuttering moving forward.
Yeah.
And looking back a little bit, the Sharks have looked really, really good recently. The addition of Evander Kane has been huge for them. So being able to add a piece like that, and he's just been phenomenal. So I'd probably put the Sharks up there. And then final team, I think if they can get hot and they can get in, the Colorado Avalanche would definitely be one of my sleeper picks. You know how in hockey one of those lower seed teams always makes it almost the finals like the Predators did last year. If somehow the Avalanche can sneak in and they have Nathan McKinnon and he's just a freaking stud, definitely a chance for him to do some damage in the playoffs if they can make it in this year.
That's crazy how it works in hockey because you can be like an 8 seed one year. You make it – well, it's not an 8 seed. I don't know what the hell the seeds are, but like
whatever it is.
The 8th best team in the West last year, whatever the Predators were. So they make that run all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, and then the next year now they're the number 1 seed, best team in the NHL sort of deal. It's crazy how that happens. It seems like that happens a lot where that lower seeded team makes that run the postseason. Then the next year, they're like the top team in the NHL.
Yeah, that happens a lot. And then you also see the opposite effect where the Ottawa Senators were 1 goal away from the Stanley Cup final, and they're a bottom 5 team this year.
Yeah.
So hockey's a weird sport. If you get hot at the right time, you can make a run. You saw the Flyers in 2010 made it all the way to the finals, and they've only been in the playoffs, I think, 2 years since. 2 or 3 years since. So hockey's a weird sport where if you make it in, you got a chance. Unlike sports like basketball and football, low seeds, you can generally see them making it pretty far in the playoffs.
Yeah. Basketball is like the most predictable postseason out of the 4 sports for sure.
They should just not even have a regular season and just put the Cavs and the Warriors in the final until LeBron leaves, and then they can go back to regular seasons again.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, any final thoughts before we head out?
Final thoughts is I'm going to guarantee that the Flyers make the playoffs this year. It's going to happen, and I'm super excited for Flyers playoff hockey. It's only been a year since we've had it, but I feel like they have a real chance to do some damage this year. Maybe not Stanley Cup champions, but maybe they finally get out of the first round.
Yeah.
It'll be good for the young guys, too, if they can get 2 playoff series in. So I'm really excited for what the Flyers are going to do. Big game tomorrow against the Bruins, and then the Flyers just have to clean up and take out teams below them in the standings to make it in the playoffs, and I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and obviously making the postseason, it's great experience for a lot of the young players, and they made a leap this year that I don't think a lot of people expected. I don't know if a lot of people thought they were going to be a playoff team.
No, I thought they were going to be a bubble team. I would not have been upset if we would have gotten another lottery pick this year. Next year was the year I really wanted to see them make the push, and it seems like they're a year ahead of plan. And I know some people don't like Dave Haxtell, but you can't argue with results. The Flyers are within 2 points of the number 2 seed in the Metropolitan Division, so whatever he's doing is working.
You know, I've just come to realize that Philadelphia just loves to complain about their managers, their coaches, because it's even happening with the Phillies already. Gabe Kapler, one game, wanted him fired. One game.
It's ridiculous.
Give the guy a chance. All right, that's Caleb Weiler. I'm Adrian Fenke. We're out. Peace.
Peace.